I am here and can unmute.
All right, good evening. Let's call the Board of Directors meetings for September 10th, 2025 to order. Let's stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Denise, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes. Director Walper?
Here.
Director Berman?
Here.
Director Lohmeyer?
Here.
Director Martinez?
Here.
Director Wheeler?
Here.
Vice Chair Johnston?
Here.
And Chair Rydell?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, so before we get started, we missed Director Berman last month, and so he was re-elected to the School Board of Directors, so we're going to do his oath of office, so we'll step out front here. Director. And since we had one printed, I have a picture of it on my phone.
They face each other.
We can face each other. Okay, so I state your name.
I, Joe Berman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States first,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Oregon,
and the policies of the Escate School District.
and the policies of the Escate School District.
During my time, I will faithfully and impartially discharge
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the responsibilities of the office to the best of my ability, so help me God.
the responsibilities of the office to the best of my ability, so help me God. All right, a warm welcome back to Director Berman to the School Board of Directors. We're glad you're back. Thank you. Good to be back.
All right, Denise, was the agenda properly notified?
Yes, it was.
Perfect. All right, so can I get a motion to approve or amend the agenda, please?
Chair Rydell, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
All right, next up, item D, Board of Directors reports, and we'll start down there with Director Walper.
Well, I've only got one thing to say. I was able to come to two of the first day of school, and junior high and the elementary school. I loved the elementary school because I got hugs. As far as the junior high, I was lucky to get a nod. That's it.
And a lot of new shoes that make them run fast at
Yeah,
elementary
yeah.
school. Okay, thank you. Director Berman.
I just want to say the district, I thought, handled the weather issue well. We're always trying to do what's best for the kids and making decisions with the information we have at the time. So I think you guys did a great job. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Director Lohmeyer.
Yeah, I second that, and I thought the communication was super good. I went out, I felt like as a parent, I knew what was happening. I had time to prep. And I also went to the 2 days of the start of school, and it was super fun. The kids were super cute. We got a lot of high fives at the middle school, if you coached them. Otherwise, they looked at the ground and didn't really talk. That was good. And really, the only other thing we've been doing is a lot of football, watching a lot of football.
Yeah.
And running kids to practices, so that's it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Director Lohmeyer. Director Martinez.
No reports other than I'm gonna miss all the notifications and, you know, I have no more kids in this district. They're all graduated. It's like, oh my gosh.
We
So-
can keep you on the list if you want.
No, thank you.
Director Wheeler.
I'll give you a youth football update. We started week 1 of games. We have 5 tackle teams and about 55 flag kids this year, which is enormous, especially for 3 coaches. They will be playing at halftime this Friday. The flag kids will, of the high school football game. And we're playing with the big boys. We're a 6A school for all intents and purposes, so it's making us better when we get to high school. So mixed emotions and or mixed outcomes this first week, but I think all the teams have the ability to go get it this year. So and as far as the first day of school, it was awesome as always. Appreciate you guys letting us be a part of that. And the presentation of the first home football game was awesome. The outcome wasn't. And then the debacle at Crook County was just,
Yeah.
I think it's probably the wildest series of events in sports that I've been part of. One lightning bolt delayed it out of the 270 that happened during the game, and then that half hour ended up cutting the power out at the end. So it was interesting, and it made a Monday varsity football game. So that was awesome.
For a whole 2 minutes and 30-some seconds, right?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Vice Chair Johnston.
Nothing for me, thank you.
All right, thank you. I won't repeat everything. I will say back to school. I feel like this is one of the smoothest back to schools we've had in a long time when it comes to transportation, when it comes to just everything set up and ready to go. I don't feel like there was a fire drill that warranted attention of a bunch of people, so that's a big one. Especially again as population changes and grade levels change, and there's just all these moving parts that most people don't see if they're not part of it in a school district itself or in this room often or in those conversations, so I really appreciate that. I would highlight one other, because it is a first, I believe, ever. We had a JV and varsity volleyball game that was hosted over in the stadium, so put down a floor over there. I had the opportunity to announce the varsity game, which was really cool, and the girls got to play under the lights, and it was an awesome experience. I hope we do it every year, because I do really think it's cool, and the girls really loved it. Both teams played great, did well, and NS Kitty came away with a win, so we'll take that even better. So, and I'm sure there's more, but I'm going to stop there. All right, so on to item E, district reports. First up is communications with Maggie and Danny. Come on down.
Good evening. It's great to be back in the new school year. In communications right now, a couple of projects in progress for us. One thing we've already noticed is a little bit of inconsistent attendance from our students, and so we want to tackle that really proactively and start putting out messaging to our families to really reinforce the importance of attendance, give them strategies and tips for just building those habits to make sure that their students are good attenders. We also are working on our growth and capacity committee work that will be starting in October after we kind of settle into the start of the school year, and we're looking forward to that. And then we have an upcoming resource night for our Spanish-speaking families. These are very, very well attended. We have folks from Orchid Health and school sports and our technology department, and there's lines at every booth of people just getting resources and getting the support that they need. So those have been successful events that we're excited to host again. A couple of completed projects we have under our belt. Our cell phone policy communication has went off. Really, we did an employee forum today, and we heard feedback from staff that they feel supported and they feel that the communication has been consistent. We've received a tremendous amount of support from our parents, which has made such a difference in implementing this. So we've been really grateful to see that communication process unfold, and we'll continue to enforce it. And we're excited to send out some positive communication about how students are adapting to life without their cell phones glued to them. Maybe some videos of kids talking to each other at lunch. So we're excited to keep continuing that communication. We finished back to school, and it was a pretty smooth start to the school year, and we were really happy to be a part of that. I will also say, just anecdotally, the number, not anecdotally, we have evidence to back it, our teachers' enthusiasm for our communication tools for things like Canva and Parent Square are at an all-time high. And that has been really exciting to see our teachers really committed to communicating well with their families, and that's just really exciting. We also had the opportunity to spotlight a really cool opportunity with this photo here with our volleyball program. They were the first in Oregon to have an outdoor volleyball game, and we were excited to get media coverage from Fox 12, K2 News, KXL Radio, and Pamplin Media. So it was great to have some reporters out there just showcasing how Estacada is innovative and groundbreaking and always doing things that no one else in the state has ever done before. We are really small but mighty, and it was great to have that showcased at a state level. Also, our RISE committee. Our RISE committee has had 3 meetings so far. We have another one coming up in 2 weeks. They are the 4th Wednesday of each month. They now have a web page and district email addresses, so just a place that you can go to see when the next meeting is, who's on the committee, and see the minutes from each meeting. And they've focused on topics including our student health surveys, and they're going to be talking about our cell phone policy as well. So a lot of good conversations going on there, and we're looking forward to continuing that work with them. Now I'll turn it over to Danny.
So for community engagement, the last month that we've been having with the district being really excited to, I'm sorry, hold on, let me restart. Stressful day. Okay, so football season's in full swing. We are really committed to bringing a bigger production, more energy, and a better entertainment for our community and our fans when they come to the games. So we've expanded our game production, and now we have a live mobile camera that our interns are walking around with, showing different perspectives of the games, bringing dance cams, all different activities that our fans are going to be able to take part in, making it more fun and expanding the production level for the games. We want our fans to come away regardless of how the outcome of the game is, but knowing that we put all of our effort into making sure that they're having fun. As you can see on the photo, we have one of our interns there filming next to a news crew, so we're not only bringing great entertainment to our community members that show up, but also giving these students an opportunity to learn real-life media training and getting to go out there and have fun while they're doing it. We also, to our knowledge, think that we're the first high school with this level of multi-camera production, so we're really excited to keep that going and getting them trained to show that. Homecoming is next week, so the communications team is working collaboratively with the high school, make sure that we're there supporting them with all of the things that they have going on, inviting the community to the parade on Thursday at 1:20, and then we have an innovative new idea for our halftime show, so we hope to see you all there. We think it'll be a lot of fun. As Maggie stated, growth and capacity committees are on the horizon. We're just getting in the swing of things, working on our communication and outreach plan, and we'll be rolling that out here in the next month. And then after a small hiatus, we have jump-started our alumni spotlight again. We're always looking for more alumni or graduates that we have that would love to share their story. The last one we just shared had great community feedback, so we enjoy showing everybody what our great EHS grads have done.
So that's a student?
That is a student,
right.
yeah,
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
right.
Pretty
That is
cool.
awesome.
And if
I
you
love
look
it.
at him next to the news crew, like,
Yeah.
it's the real deal. And we really do think, as far as we've been able to see, this is the first live game cam in Oregon high school sports.
So is this an AV, audiovisual program that we're setting up?
Josh has done a great job of overseeing. I believe we have 7 interns at this point. It's a paid job, and we had one graduate from this program that went to, I believe, OSU and received some good feedback on how well prepared he was to help with the media production there. So just a great example of real-world experience that we're able to provide for kids, and in return, they are like improving the product that we're delivering. It's a win-win for sure.
Good job, Josh. Keep up the good work.
Josh does a great job mentoring and teaching them all these good things.
That is
It's great.
awesome.
I would echo that too. I'm in the booth Friday nights, and so I'm shoulder to shoulder at times with Josh, but his direction and work with the students and positive, engagement and reinforcement and direction, it's not a surprise at all that these kids are coming out of here very well prepared, because they've got great leadership when it comes to getting that stuff set up and the amount of support and direction that is needed, so it's a really a top-notch production, which is awesome to be a part of.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, any questions?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right group. So I was contacted by the city about 300 kids from the school coming to the industrial park. So I wanted to see, did we plan that, or did they ask us to show up, or what's that whole collaboration look like?
Erin Gardenhire was the one that facilitated that. She does a great job with our CTE programs. And then we are stepping in because we are going to be and have been inviting the media to come because we just think it's a fantastic opportunity. But Erin has really spearheaded that effort, and it's a fantastic opportunity for our students.
So she's working with the city, it's a city event,
The
essentially?
origins
and
of
they've
the
invited-
event came from the Economic Development Council, which is a subsector of the city council and support. And so through their budget and that committee, they've created this day. And they invited the Estacada School District to bring kids to participate in the day. And that's where Erin has taken over, and we're coming in full force.
It's gonna be a big day. I don't think
Yeah.
there's 300 people in that park on any day,
Yeah,
so that's gonna be fun,
yeah.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
It's like 7 buses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Just to add on to the videography, and at the volleyball game, I thought it was really cool that the lack of cell phones, like, there was kids with real cameras. It's kind of like, I don't know, interesting. Like, you're just so used to everybody holding up their video camera, but Dane was walking around, there's a handful of other kids walking around, sitting on the far side of the court, taking legitimate pictures with real, like, Canon cameras or Sony's or whatever they were.
And their photos were good, too.
Yeah.
They were good photos.
And you could tell that they were in tune. It's not like they were sitting there text messaging and then taking a picture. They were like totally engaged. So I don't know. The cell phone policy and then this, it's just kind of
Yeah.
turning over a new leaf, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's also allowing our students, especially our student interns, to really feel proud of and take a stake in their school district and take a stake in these events, and really empowering them to step up and contribute back to their community. It's been cool to see.
All right, any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, finance and accountability. Scott, you're up.
All right, so in your board packet, you have the enrollment report, which is the first enrollment report that we have for the year. And you will notice that the enrollment number that is presented there says 2019, which is 20 students more than this time last year. However, that number has been in flex every day since we have been coming back to school. We have a number of ghosts in the system that have kind of worked their way out in the last, even since we put this report together in the last 5 days or so. So the number that we're working on right now, correct me if I'm wrong, today is 1979 in terms of enrollment. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's today, and we are nearing the 10-day drop period, and that is a functional drop from our standpoint, and we drop those students that have just not shown up. And so in that 2019 number that you see in your screen on the graph, that does include some of those ghosts. So that's one of the reasons behind the drop. You'll also notice in the blue line, you see where historically in this first enrollment period, we do see a drop until it starts leveling off for a while. And we are not expecting that much of a drop in that regard because we're already experiencing it. The technology and the great work of Hank has been really helpful for us in terms of getting to that number at a quicker rate, I guess, at this point in time. So I wouldn't expect to see a huge drop off in that number like you've seen in the past years. I think the data is truer now. So I think we're going to come in about 1978, 1979. That's good because we budgeted, our student count that we wrote the budget on was 1956 in budgeted students. So we're, at this point in time, holding a little bit higher than what we budgeted for, which is good for our revenue picture. So any questions about enrollment that I can answer?
But we'll have that 10-day drop next month, right? So we'll have a pretty good idea where we sit.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, you'll
Right,
absolutely have it on this sheet, next sheet. Okay, so then in the financial report, this is the second month that we've been doing the financial report, and you will see, primarily you will notice a drop in that beginning fund balance number. We talked about it last month, is now around 5.78. We just had a small tick up again day before yesterday. So the main reason for the drop is that best practices in accounting and GAAP principles say that we need to zero out all of our special revenue funds, and we have a number of special revenue funds, and those are predominantly considered the grant funds in most parlance, and so we zeroed those out by transferring revenue out of the general fund to make sure that those are zero or appropriately covered for moving forward into the new year. So we've closed the year out a bit ahead of schedule, which is adjusting that beginning fund balance. Regardless, as I mentioned last month, that is below the adopted budget amount of $6.4 million. So we're starting a little bit in the hole, which is not a very good place to be in. It's not that rare that districts have more expenditures than they expect toward the end of the prior fiscal year. But hopefully with budget reports such as the ones that we put together, the cash flow analysis, that builds consistency in data, and we can see and look back on budget performance month by month in past months. And so as we start building the budget for the following year, likely in April, we can really have a good idea of how much that we're going to be spending in the last 3 months of the year. So hopefully we can do a better job at predicting what that beginning fund balance is going to be.
So when we close out the end of year, which we did in probably July,
Yes.
Well, not technically, we did it just last month, so
Okay.
in August.
but,
The year ended in June.
Right.
But yeah, takes us a while to close it out.
but I'm trying to work through this. Don't we know what's coming in as far as bills?
No, not necessarily. We have, I'll just use food services as an example because it's an easy one for me. The federal government delays their payments of food for revenue. It's a revenue stream that we get from the federal government. The last federal government payment that we received for the last fiscal year came on August 15th. So we don't actually know. We have a reasonable idea how much that's going to be, but we also take net 30 on our payments. And so we take some of, we don't drag our feet on paying our vendors, but we don't hurry to pay them either in the month of June. So after all of that is kind of said and done, we get the straggler bills, and the fact that I'm new, quite frankly, is some of these, it was hard for me to predict what we were going to see because I didn't even know the list of our vendors. But we did a pretty good job of that, and we had a few surprises, but not very many.
Well, as a percentage, it's trivial, but dollars and cents, I always like it to be close.
Yeah, I do too, absolutely. So, yeah, this is not the best news to report, but
Are the
but I can
surprises
say that
more on the
we will.
expenditure side or the lack of revenue side?
Mostly on the expenditure side in this case, yeah.
Darn, I was hoping you were gonna
The
say the
revenue side, some simple examples of that is we were about $100,000 over budget in our substitute costs. Food ran us about $100,000 more than we had anticipated. Utilities ran about $40,000 more than anticipated. And I shared with you all that $1 million water leak, or million gallon, water leak, and some of those things were unanticipated that ultimately correlated to that $600,000 piece. Also, we budgeted, $10 million for payments to the charter school, and those came in about $12 million. And so it was just some of those nuances that correlated to us. And I'm very grateful for Scott and his expertise and the talent that he's bringing to our team, because we made the tough decision of taking that money and paying it. So we started the school year with every account in the black, different than running something in the red, so.
Yeah, that's important not to run it in the red. That's how you get into trouble, because
Yeah.
then you have one person understanding that certain funds are running in the red, and that's not a good spot to be if I were to get hit by a bus or something like that.
Yes.
So,
So we just balanced it out and ate it, and we were in a position to do so.
Going along with my fiscal report to the financial economic conditions, I talked a little bit about the state's latest economic forecast. That's online. If you want our professional organization's assessment of that, I'd be happy to send that out to you. It's a pretty lengthy read. But just in general, we are doing okay, but it is a good time to start preparing for tighter budgets in the future and taking a kind of a more conservative stance in expenditures. Facilities and seismic projects, the high school gym continues to wrap up. We are going to do the final painting in November between sports in the gym. And then for the most part, all the projects were under budget for that. And then the construction on the Commons project has already started. We are doing schematic drawings at this point, and we are beginning the process. And later on in the agenda, you will hopefully be discussing and approving the CMGC selection, and that's the same process that we've used to hire a general contractor, general manager for this summer's construction project in the Commons. So I'll be speaking to you a little bit more on that agenda topic later tonight.
So Scott, one clarifying question. When we look at this, when you look in June, next June,
In the financial report?
on the financial report, yeah, so
Okay.
expenditures go up, we know in June, because we're paying salaries, benefits for the summer for those employees that are, you know, the certified, right? Certified.
Yeah, we pay everybody on the 12-year cycle.
So that makes sense.
three
Do we
checks in
typically not get any state revenue in June?
Yes, that is correct. What happens, and this has been going on for well over a decade, actually in part of the Great Recession, the state does not give a state school fund payment in the month of June. They haven't for a long time, since 04, 05. And the reason why is they had a cash flow issue. And so they give two payments to us in July. And so if you look on that sheet, you will see that the state revenue is essentially double the state school fund. So we get two payments in July and then none in June. And so any of that state revenue is typically minor adjustments, may surprise, those types of things.
And so that just contributes, again, as you look down, just for everybody that's looking at this, because that's what I anticipated, is that's why we see such a dramatic drop in the ending fund balance. in June,
Exactly,
right?
at that
Because
month.
we lose, you know, $3 million in revenue, plus we increase $4 million in expenditures because of the payout for the summer. So
Yeah.
that's why that dramatic drop from 11.9 to 4.5.
Well said.
But then we make some of that back up in July when we get the double payment from the
Exactly.
sources.
Yeah, we start heading high. And also, I do need to mention that we are still in the midst of payroll. My payroll clerk, Angie, is still working tonight when I just left there a little while ago. That payroll, we will be pushing that button on Friday. And once that data comes in, we'll be able to project out the payroll and benefit costs for the entire year. And that will provide more, more high-quality data in the body of that report. So I think next month, don't put too much emphasis on this report yet. It's kind of in that bell curve. As soon as we get mid-year, that's when those numbers start really truing up and we can get some good analysis out of them.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question that's not pertinent to Estacada, so I probably should just keep my mouth shut, but I have a really hard time.
But anyway.
I'm gonna continue. So along the lines of revenue, so in November, there's a bump for property taxes, right?
Correct.
So a district, let's say Lake Oswego, fairly affluent, I imagine their property tax base is significantly more than ours. They see a jump similarly, right?
Yes.
And that's an offset from the state school fund. So is their state school fund smaller throughout the year then, and because they're getting a bigger plug of money in November that they can like ride out?
What we do, it's a very good question. And I could get into the weeds on this, but I will not. I'll try not to, and stop me if I do. we have to estimate how much money we're going to get in property tax revenue in the prior December. So in December, all the business managers go in there, and we look at our crystal ball, and we think this is how much money we're gonna get in property tax revenue. That number is taken and then is fit into the state school fund revenue. And when we talk about everybody getting $10,000 per kid, right, you've heard that number tossed around, that's pretty much equal from around the state, no matter how much property tax revenue you get. So an area like Lake Oswego that may be more affluent than ours, they would have, of that $10,000, a higher percentage of that is coming from their own state school fund own property tax revenue, right? And so, and in an area where it has less property tax revenue, a higher percentage of that is from state income tax revenue, which is the main driver for the state school fund.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a formula that gets, we provide data as business managers, we provide data in December. They take that data, they adjust, they make the state school fund, and then they correct that data all the way in May. We are now able to correct some of that data during the school year. So that's been really helpful. But in May, when we have what's called the May surprise or the May correction, that's what's doing that, and that's where they tie it to actuals.
Okay, thank you, that helps.
Good question.
I don't have anything else.
Okay, thanks. All right. Anything else for Scott?
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I was just about to skip the superintendent's report, but I guess we'll let him give it. So Superintendent Carpenter, you're up as
Well,
superintendent.
you should, because I have 11 bullet points. But it is the start of the school year, and we are very excited, and we're very proud and pleased of our start. I do just want to note to the board that in your board report is our new attempt at an internal report of the operations report. And so I just want to encourage you to read the updates from transportation, nutrition, et cetera, on your own time. And if you have requests or recommendations for someone to come and answer questions further, excited to offer that opportunity. I want to recognize two things before I get started, and that's first to recognize Estacada School District social worker Bettina Bowles. She was just recognized as the Volunteer of the Year by the Orchid Health and other local and state health agencies. It's a really big accomplishment and a great award and representation of the Estacada School District. Since COVID, we've had a social worker, and her ability to connect students and families to resources in order for them to better access their learning at schools has really been quite phenomenal. And so we want to recognize Bettina for that and thank her for her service. Another major win is that for many, many years, Estacada Middle School, in the eyes of the Oregon Department of Education, has been identified as a target school, primarily based on outcomes in reading and math, in addition to the large gaps that exist between different demographics and subgroup categories. I've been an employee of the Estacada School District since the year 2009. I was hired as a high school social studies teacher. In all of that time, Estacada Middle School has always been identified in one of Oregon Department of Education's watch list, and even during the rise of our school district and its academic achievements. This year is the first year that Estacada Middle School is no longer a target on the Oregon Department of Education's list, and a lot of recognition goes to both Jennifer Berman, Sarah Shields, and Kate Dean, and the entire staff at Estacada Middle School, who has done a tremendous job to close gaps and to really achieve growth in those state and national testing outcomes. So we are very proud of Estacada Middle School, and it's evidence of the hard, intentional work that we've done to improve the outcomes of that building. So that is a tremendous win. I cannot underline how huge that is for us, our community, and most importantly, our kids. And we're very proud of that no longer designation on that specific list. One of the things I want to share with the Executive Board of Directors today, as well as the public at large, is this is the first year that the Estacada School District is offering free meals, breakfast and lunch, to all of our families. And I'm happy to share with the board today that our families and our students are truly taking full advantage of that. Our numbers in serving breakfast and our numbers at serving lunch are really at record levels. And I want to commend our nutrition service staff, who has been with the same staffing levels, accommodating more students with more meals being served. We've been getting rave reviews from the students on the types of meals that are being served, and it's going very well. I want to thank the people who were a part of the grant process and the application process who made us eligible for this, similar to other school districts across the state of Oregon. But from a financial perspective, our ability to get this grant and be eligible, we're getting reimbursed from the state and federal government 90 cents or 90% of every meal. When we used to charge families for it, we were being reimbursed 70% of every meal. And so not only are we feeding more kids in an equitable way, we're also getting a better reimbursement from that process as well. And so if you are a member of the public who's listening to our school board meeting tonight, and there are, which I'm grateful for, I just really want to encourage everybody to participate in this free meal process. We know that there's some families who may not yet have this communication or information, and we definitely don't want a child to miss an opportunity to be well fed in order to support their learning. And to a few parents that have emailed me and others, your child is eating, even though they're coming home with the lunch that you prepared for them that was uneaten. They ate lunch at school. And so this is a good thing as well. And we encourage families to take more advantage of that process. And so it's going very well, and we're very proud of this new opportunity for our children and families. Cell phone policies is the name of the game as we start the school year. The Governor Tina Kotek, through executive order, required all school districts starting January 1st, no cell phones and or watches or any other device that has two-way communication is allowed on school campus from the beginning of the bell until the end of the bell, because we wanted to start training this behavior prior to January 1st. Our school district made the bold decision to start the school year with the implementation of this new law and policy. I'm here to report to the board today that it has gone surprisingly well. Our kids have really adjusted quite well to the new policy, and our teachers and our administrators are reporting that it has been a pleasurable process. More student engagement, more student dialogue, and more opportunities just for person-to-person, face-to-face conversations, which we hope will correlate to improved learning and improved outcomes. At the beginning of the first weeks of school, we saw a pretty high violation rate, but that continues to already decrease, and we're only 3 weeks into the school year. And so we are very pleased with the results of how it's going, and we're going to continue to work with our employees to make sure they feel confident in enforcing the policy, that the policy is enforced consistently across the entire school district, and we look forward to more results when it comes to that, but very pleased. I'll pause there for a second in case there's any cell phone questions, comments that the board might be hearing from the community on free meals either.
No, I'd just like to thank Superintendent Carpenter for putting out a Facebook Live. I was able to join him on that
Yes.
Before school started to talk about the cell phone policy, and I think it speaks volumes for what this district stands for and what we're committed to doing is entering that vulnerable space, taking questions live. Yep. No filters, no nothing, and that we're just here to answer questions and tell you what we're all about, and I think that goes a long way. And I believe through the conversations I've had with folks since school started that open and honest, transparent communication is helping parents work through the struggles
Yes.
that they're having, because there are some struggles from a parent to kid standpoint as
For
well.
sure.
And so I think the open communication through the communications department, from the office of superintendent, from the individual buildings, I think it's been handled exceedingly well. And so very proud to be a part of it.
Thank you, and I appreciate those comments and your support on Facebook Live too. I really do think that was an effective communication to front put our families and what that preparation looks like. As Director Berman stated, we are very excited to send 256 students to the big industrial tour and visit and job exposure and career fair in the industrial park in Estacada. This is without a doubt going to be the largest event, with the exception of our own career fair that Alice Ann Bresco does a phenomenal job of putting together at Estacada High School. But we are very excited to send our students down to the business sector and be able to bridge connections and have our students be exposed to what working locally might look like and how that can be a livable wage as we try our best to keep our children in the Estacada School District and boundary and community. So very excited about that. As we all know, our school district has been working hard to reestablish, is the correct word, relationships with our local businesses over the past several years, and we think this is a great step in that direction, and excited about that. I do want to put on the board's radar that as I shared with you probably 6 months ago or so, the Estacada School District and the Molalla School District are joining forces in an attempt to really build a strong career technical education program, one that can compete with the North Clackamas School District and one that can feed students into Clackamas Community College. And great work has been done on that since I last reported to the board, and I hope in the next school board meeting to allow Aaron Gardenhire to kind of share our pathway on that. And a very fast refresher for the board and most importantly the public is what we're trying to do as Estacada, because of our school size, is trying to provide 3 or 4 very niche expertise type of career technical education. And so for Estacada, we're doing diesel mechanics, electrical engineering, agriculture, and manufacturing as our main 4. And then Molalla School District is going to specialize in 4 different ones. And so ultimately the hope is for our ability to swap kids so that if a kid is interested in like aviation, for example, they can go to Molalla for the aviation program, just that, and then come back to Estacada for math, science, and sports, because nobody would want to play sports at Molalla. And so on and so forth. And so ultimately then we're kind of hoping to build this. And the reason why I want to put this on your radar is because we're in the works of trying to create a joint board workshop with Molalla School Board of Directors, Estacada School Board of Directors, and Clackamas Community College Board of Directors, where we all want to funnel our students to and through their programs or to the career. So I just wanted to share that that's up and coming, and we're still working on that process. But I am hoping to get 3 or 4 or 7 of our school board members together on that night to work with Molalla and building this program and show mutual support for what we're trying to build, which will compete with the big schools who do have these opportunities and their kids are exposed to more things like this. 2 more things, or 3 more things, excuse me, and one of which is a new one to me that actually we discovered today, but I do want to put this on the board's radar as well, more from a philosophical thing, because we're going to need to, both Jennifer Berman, our Director of Teaching and Learning, and myself are going to kind of audit a little bit the usage of this. And so without further delay, what we have discovered is that we have a lot of homeschool students inside our school district. And while they're performing their education at home, a lot of them are utilizing the Estacada School District for elective programs like music or PE. Those are the 2 primary, and career technical education. And so they're doing their education at home, but then showing up for 1 or 2 periods to experience, those type of specialty and what I would call cool opportunities. And as we look at our policy regarding this, it's pretty vague in terms of what we allow, support. Historically, we have thought that if we allow students to come in for a period or 2, that they might have so much fun that they enroll into the school district full time. that hasn't proven to be true. We do capture a little bit of ADM for their 1 period or 2 periods out there, so we do capture a little bit of revenue from this experience, but this isn't the conversation for now. I just want to bring this to your attention, and really the philosophical question is if parents and families choose to homeschool their student, do we want to allow them to benefit from some of the experiences that all of our public school education get to be a part of? Or do we want to say these programs, especially when you talk about growth and capacity, are for public school students who are full-time enrolled, and if you'd like to be a part of these programs, you should enroll into our system. And so that's just a philosophical thing that I would love to, as your superintendent, reflect our policy and our stuff on in terms of that. Now, I do need to say a caveat. By law, we are required to allow any student who lives inside our 750 square mile school district, doesn't matter if they're charter school or homeschool, to participate in OSAA athletics, participate in extracurricular activities. We're required to do that, but inside the school day, we are not required to do. And so that would be an opinion, decision, and policy formed by the board for us to execute. So I wanted to throw that hypothetical on you because that is one that will fall on your plate probably next month or the month after. And it's not like we would, if we choose whatever, we won't rip the carpet out, but it would be to start next school year with, so we don't interrupt things unless we want to, and then we can. But that's kind of where we're at with that.
Ryan, question on that.
Yep.
So if they're coming for 2 out of 7 periods, do we get 2/7 of an ADM?
Yes.
We
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Yep. We also have the ability to double charge if we want to and charge tuition in addition to the ADM we claim, or we can say no. Yep.
Thank you.
Great question. Okay, then I will move to my final 2, and I just wanted to make the board aware that the OSAA, which represents all interscholastic activities, cheer, dance, and all of our sports and athletics, they're in the process of their typical 4-year reclassification, and there have been 2 drafts submitted, a 6A classification model and a 5A classification model. And I am hearing reports from internal sources that the 5A right now is the most popular. The consequences of 5A classifications is that Estacada would still remain 4A, and the biggest 5A classification schools would merge with 6A classifications, and there would be 72 schools now at the 5A level, and the lower end 5A schools would merge into 4A. And so our Tri-Valley Conference under this proposal would be sending us to Ridgeview High School in Redmond, Crook County High School in Prineville, Madras High School in Madras, the Dalles High School in the Dalles, and then Estacada, Gladstone, Malala, and LaSalle. And so the reason why this is noteworthy for us, and I would love to, if the board has a desire for their superintendent to advocate, one of my concerns is the amount of times we're traveling over the mountain, particularly in the wintertime and early spring, not to mention how much that costs to do these trips in the way that they are. And so that is something we need to be considerate of. However, I am pleased how competitive that league is. And the unfortunate thing for us is as the bigger 5As like Dallas, LaSalle, Crook County, Ridgeview, and Redmond, which is a very affluent school in Redmond, we're going to become an even smaller dog, and we were already a small dog in 4A as it was. A very good one, a good dog, but a small dog nonetheless. And so there are some consequences to this movement. There is an external alternative movement being made, and it's coming from the West Lynn Wilsonville School District, and they're trying to advocate hard to pull all private schools out of the classifications and make their own private school league of 2 classifications, big privates and small privates, schools. And so But that is getting traction and popularity among Eastern Oregon schools and 1A, 2A, 3A classification schools, because private schools win every championship at that level. Country Christian, Oregon Episcopal, you name it. Try to win a tennis or golf championship out of that, that will never happen. But anyways, so that's getting traction, but it's being vehemently opposed by the OSAA. And so that's just something I want to be aware of, but I am considering how the board's desires for me to potentially go and testify if we have a specific preference. So just wanted to make you aware of that. I'll pause for a second because that's a big one for us, which has major financial implications. Director Wheeler.
So right now, I think there's 31 in the 4A, 31 schools.
I think 34, but yeah.
Oh, they changed, okay, so last year there was 31 or 32 or whatever. And I think we were sixth smallest.
Yes.
And that's, we're competitive.
Very much so.
I struggle with going to the 5A model, because just knowing the youth football sector.
Yeah.
One what if, anecdotal thing is, North Clackamas has 19,000 students.
Yep.
We have 1,900 and we are competing with them.
Yeah.
Now, they have 4 high schools, granted.
Yep.
But each of those high schools is 2.5 times the size of Estacada.
Yes.
And they're
Each
fielding
one.
the same amount of teams.
Yes.
And so I just feel like it's gonna be an uphill battle.
Yep.
There's a steep drop off.
Yeah.
And the third point is, Westland's argument, they're advocating to be part of the private school.
Correct. If you accept, their rule is if you accept transfers, then you still play in your league. If we accepted transfers, we would still play in the league I just described, but come playoff time, you would split. And if we accepted transfers, or if Westland accepted transfers at any point, then we would be in that private school championship bracket. If we didn't accept transfers, then we would remain in the traditional championship bracket.
What's in it for them?
Who, Westland?
Westland.
What's in it for them is what I think, if I were to predict this thing coming true, is there becomes a elite school and real championship, because Lake Oswego, Tiger Tualatin, the teams that are always in it, they would have their own championship place. But the schools like Gresham, David Douglas, Centennial, people who in this current setup have literally no chance to win a championship would not accept transfers, and so then they would kind of move into their own championship bracket, which kind of equalizes the playing field. Knowing Westland the way I do, they would like not to accept transfers, but that's just unrealistic for them based on how things go. The problem I have with this model is that transfers is done straight across. So if my dad is a Coast Guard soldier in Coast Guard Station Tillamook, and he gets transferred to Coast Guard Station Astoria, and my whole family has to move, under that proposal from Westland Wilsonville, Astoria either takes transfers or not. If they don't take transfers, then the best I can ever do as a transfer kid is play JV. I can't play varsity. But if Astoria takes me, hypothetically, as a transfer, then they have to move into that private school bracket.
That seems really messy, and
Gonna
until
get
Friday
abused.
night at
Yes.
midnight when the last football game's played, or
For sure.
volleyball,
Yeah,
it's gonna be like
yeah,
smoke signals and everything else trying to figure this out.
no doubt about it. And it harms the
And
kid.
it's not best for the kids.
Right, it harms the kid in that scenario. However, I understand the intention of what it's doing, because right now, Central Catholic, Jesuit, those people, they're collecting people all of the time,
Yeah.
and they're just dominating. And so I think Westland's model is trying to find a way to like, okay, if you do this, then you go over here. But it would need to definitely be worked through, but at this time, the OSAA has no appetite for that proposal.
Yeah.
Because it's messy and it's not good for the kid.
Yeah. So, But thank you, and this is a big one that will impact us based on where the decision is. They'll make that decision in like February, March, but they're already throwing drafts out and they're taking testimony from different schools.
I think it'd be great to set up a time that we can all
Yeah.
not all get together, but a couple of us who are interested.
For sure.
To get together.
Yep,
'cause I
or
think
we
it's
could do a
worth-
workshop too,
Yeah,
but
either
yeah.
way, but I
no.
think it's worth further conversation.
Okay. Then I will move on to just my final piece, and in our audience today is a great member of our community, Bill Highland, who's been a great friend of the Estacada School District, and we've enjoyed very much working alongside of him. Both Bill, the Estacada School District, and an HVAC company are working in the early processes of trying to gain grant funding through Energy Trust of Oregon, Citizen. Bill Highland has recognized some of our troubles with air conditioning and climate-controlled learning spaces. He's in an opportunity to potentially help us through this process, and so I just wanted to share with the board that we're in the infant stages of trying to do some things to secure some alternative funding in hopes that we can continue to chip along at our ultimate goal, and that's making sure all classrooms in our school district have temperature controls and/or regulations, so we don't have to release school early due to heat and other climate situations. So I just wanted to share that and thank him for coming today, and that is officially your superintendent's report,
All right,
September report.
September. Questions for Superintendent Carpenter? All right, thank you very much. On to item G, reports and presentations. We have the Title III English Learners in Oregon. Jennifer Berman, come on down. You're gonna give us the 23-24 annual report, and you'll tell us why it's the 23-24 when we're already into 25, right?
Yes. Good evening. It's that fun time of year where I get to explain why we're talking about 2 years ago. Get this going here. So, hello. Thank you for having me tonight. Jennifer Berman, Director of Teaching and Learning. I am here to report on our English language learners for Oregon for the year of 23-24. This is my fourth year presenting this report, and it always gets a little confusing when we are talking about 2 years ago, but that is how long it takes for us to collect the data, receive it, and turn it into what we're going to talk about tonight. I did link the full report if you ever need something to read. There's a lot in there that might be of interest to you. We do this report annually because it is a requirement to talk about how we're spending federal funding and what we're doing with that to support programs, to support our English language learners across Oregon, and how that funding is spent and the outcomes because of that. I like to just pull some highlights for you because it is a very intense report, and a lot of it is can be confusing, so I'm going to go through again some language that we always kind of get tripped up on. But when we talk about current ELs, we are talking about English language learners that are currently in an ELD program. When we're talking about our monitored students, it's those who have reached proficiency on our ELPA test, which means they get to exit the program, but they're in a monitored status for 4 years. And then you're going to hear me talk about former ELs, which means they have exited our monitored program. They've been continuing to be successful, so now they are former. If we combine them all together, they are called ever ELs, which means they were at some point in their K-12 experience part of an EL program. And all those students who have never been in the program, but could be bilingual or not bilingual, are called never ELs. So you will see that a lot in this report, and I can clarify that again if we don't remember it. So I did state by the end of May of 2024, they had listed just kind of the current enrollment for each one of those categories. They did talk about the fact that our English learner population is increasing in Oregon, while the overall population in public schools is decreasing, and I added, except in Estacada, especially in 23-24. So we are still continuing to grow. We did have an increase of our recent arrivers, which are students who come to us from a different country and maybe have some disrupted learning. There was a big increase in that year, and we felt that in Estacada. I will say I'm very proud of our our people for making sure they were building the plane as we were flying it, because students showed up. We needed supports we weren't quite prepared for because of the numbers that came in. And we were able to actually have a lot of those students reach proficiency on their ELPA scores within 1 to 2 years. So it was a big adjustment for us to CADA, and you can see across the state of Oregon. But again, our systems that we have in place, we're able to build on those when those problems or issues arise, and we're able to fix it and support our kids in the best way possible. Another big piece is just how many of the current English learners are Latino, and the percent that were the Pacific Islander students just across the board. Those were the two biggest ones. And then again, Spanish is the predominant home language of current ELs, but also we had an increase of 25 different languages that year. So a lot of new things coming that definitely help our culture with our students. So I'm gonna hit on some big things of attendance, college graduation, career, and our biliteracy seal, just to really hit the big highlights that I feel like are the most impactful. And across the bottom, I like to help you engage in it a little more, add the Estacada data to it, because again, this is all of Oregon in the year of 23-24. So as you can see, the current ELs, those are those students that were currently in a program being served. And then our formers and monitors, this was their attendance across the board. As you can see, it dips pretty low when they get into high school. But then if you look at Estacada, we're pretty strong and we're above some of those averages. So again, I do think thanks to the size and the people and the systems that we have, we're engaging our students really well and seeing the successes and good outcomes because of that. With our graduation rate, you can see here the students who were never ELs at that 82% this year, or for the 23-24 year, where our current ELs and formers were. For us, I put that data on the side for 23-24. One thing to think about too, when you look at that percentage, it's a very small group of students. We're only talking about the seniors of that year. So when I talk about 75%, it's 1 to 2 students that it's a big impact on that percentage. But our formers did get 100% there compared to the never ELs in our program. Our biliteracy seal for the year of 23-24, I'm just gonna talk about ours because I'm proud of it. We had 8 students graduate with that biliteracy seal. That is the most in 1 year since we started this program. So that piece is continuing to grow. Our students are becoming more proficient in multiple languages, which honestly is a big sell in our job, in the job force and in anywhere in the world. So we're really proud to continue that program and be able to support our students in that. And then you can see across Oregon what those percentages were. Then beyond high school, these are kids who are going to attend a college or a trade school directly out of high school. We don't track it past that first year. So what happens beyond that is not part of our data, but it's just that graduating class and then what they committed to when they left us for the year. We don't necessarily go and make sure that happened, but when they leave us, that's the plan that they have. So as you can see, we are trending higher than the state of Oregon across the board for our never and our ever ELs as well, which I think, again, is a tribute to our systems, to the work Alice Ann is doing with students and just getting more in front of our kids to show them the opportunities that they have. And that was quick.
Yeah, it was.
But I wanted to also add, before I open for questions, to piggyback what Dr. Carpenter talked about with our middle school. The EL students were our very last targeted group. So when I first started in this position, it was the entire school was not where we wanted them to be. Then they dropped that, and it was just our ELs and our students with disabilities. And then this was our last drop of our students with ELs, which is us closing the learning gap. And I know when you hear some of these things, like, I wish I could just stress and show you the importance of what a big deal that is and how hard that is. And while the middle school has done a phenomenal job of getting systems in place and supporting it, and they got themselves out of that, I also want to just give a big shout out to our elementary schools and our programs there, our Language for All program, the things Karen Green and her people are doing for all of our students that really impacts, when I can say, I wish I could show you every day, the research-based high-yield strategies that are happening in our classrooms that don't only impact students who might have a second language or might have a disability, but all of our kids. And the fact that the Department of Education calls up one of our principals and says, what are you doing? Because no one else is closing learning gaps the way that you are is huge. And it gives me goosebumps. It makes me a little bit emotional because we have worked our tails off to be able to just get us out of that status. Now, we are not where we want to be, but the people in this district, the teachers, the paras, the parent support, all of it is working really well. Like the flywheel is turning and we're starting to see that success, and it is only for the benefit of our kids. And I'm just really proud of them, and I wanted to give all of them a shout out today and hope that our parents understand, like, we mean business when we say we're gonna do what's best for each and every student that walks through our doors. And that evidence came in, well, it's just ODE telling us, good job. You don't get that every day. And so I just wanted to state that again, because I'm just really proud of our team and the hard work. So with that, any questions about the EL report?
Questions on the EL report?
I went to the award ceremony that year where you had the 8 biliteracy things. It was
Yes.
awesome. First of all, I remember it. And I remember it because almost every one of those kids had multiple scholarships. So many scholarships. Almost all scholarships went to them.
It's amazing.
Like they had so
Yeah.
many. And super high grade point averages.
Yes.
So they were like really kind of rock star kids that were doing really cool things and all going to college. So they did, I mean, they were really kind of an all around good group.
And the test for that seal is not an easy test.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a high level, very rigorous. And so to have that honor on your diploma means a lot in the job force, in the military, all of those things. It's a big deal.
Yeah, we
It's
were there
exciting.
to watch someone else receive an award, but I was like, these kids, my husband was like, every one of them. It's like another scholarship, another award, another thing. It's like they were really after it. So it was a good year, I remember.
I do have a question regarding the data that you presented. Seems like it was more overall Oregon kind of numbers. Do we have any specifics for our school district?
I tried to put for those topics just in the slide right next to, those were ours for that year. So I'll go back to like attendance across the bottom there. So our current ELs during that year, the K-5s were at 89% across the bottom.
Okay.
The middle school was 86% and our 9-12 was at 89. So we were exceeding what the state of Oregon was for our attendance with our current ELs. If you look, the current ELs are the orange color. Like high school, for instance, they're at 44% and we were at 89%.
But what is our, that's attendance, but what is our percentage of students in those English learners, school district-wise?
Oh, like how many we have
How many
overall?
students, of the 2,000 students approximately that we had, or, you know, the number of students within our school district, how many, what is the percentage, do we know?
I don't have that data for you, but I can get it for you. Yeah,
That'd be nice to know.
it's just, another data point we can pull back from.
Okay, any other questions?
Great
All right.
job.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item H, discussion, which we have none. Item I, hearing of citizens for action items.
None.
None. All right, on to J, action items. The consent agenda includes a package of one or more items to be voted on as a unit. However, if any board member is not in favor of one or more agenda items and prefers to take separate action or request of the chair anytime prior to the vote, we'll move that item for a separate vote. So consent agenda, can I get a motion?
Chair Idell, I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
Okay, so before we get to item K, I want to transition and ask Scott for an overview. So because of how this is captured, we're gonna have him give an overview. I'll open it to public comment. If anybody has any comment, then we'll close that part, and then we'll move to make a motion and vote on the item as normal.
Actual public comment?
Actual public comment.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
All right, so Scott, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. So as you know, we've received almost a $2.5 million, $2.499 million seismic grant for the high school commons. And there's a group of statutes, ORS is 279A, which we in the business kind of call the procurement statutes. And they essentially say for construction projects, we are required by the state law, ORS, to take the lowest bidder on the construction projects themselves, unless there are some compelling circumstances not to do that. And the way that we determine that we have compelling circumstances to not necessarily go the traditional low bid route is by doing what we call as a finding of fact. And a finding of fact is essentially an analysis that is done in the public's eye that says that there are alternative delivery methods to getting this project done for a district that might be our size. And one of them would be, for instance, the mitigation of risk on the rapid change in costs for materials. Another one would be maybe the lack of in-house management expertise in order to, manage all the different subcontractors and so forth. So what a lot of districts in the state of Oregon and actually across the country are doing with these, even though 2.5 million seems like a lot of money, they are smaller construction projects, is they're using a delivery method called the CMGC method, which is Construction Management General Contractor. And that particular delivery method is what this district has been using for all the prior construction projects here. And so what the finding of facts document does, and if you accept the finding of fact document, which was published in the Daily Journal of Commerce about 2 weeks ago, and it received no comments at that time, it essentially allows you as a school district executive board of directors to direct me to go out and find a CMGC contractor. Now, when we do that through an RFP process. And so historically, we've had multiple people bid to become that CMGC. And what they do then is they do that project by estimating the cost and giving us a guaranteed maximum price plus a margin that they are going to do that work for. And that allows us, on my side, to know essentially what that project is going to cost, outside of the fact that, our electrical system is what it is. So we sometimes have some cost overruns that we try to mitigate with contingency. But the point of that is that it's a lot simpler for us to manage that process, and it mitigates the risk for us. Now, what it doesn't do is we sometimes don't get all that competition, right? Because essentially the CMGC contractor can use a roofer, without having to go for bid. I mean, it's in his or her best interest to go to bid because the less money he pays that sub, the more money he gets to bring home in his pocket. So anyway, that's just kind of a brief overview of the CMGC process. The finding of facts are included in your board packet. They have been publicized. As I mentioned, there's been no comments on those finding of facts. So my recommendation is that the CMGC method would result in some good cost savings for us, some time savings, and some better expertise and a better outcome for us. So I recommend to the board that you do pass the action item.
And one question or clarifying point, because we've had this conversation over the last couple of years when we've had construction projects come up, is this idea of having our own kind of general contractor on staff. And that would alleviate kind of needing to go this process because we have that expertise on staff. But we don't have that expertise on staff, which is why this is a very viable option for us, as opposed to then saying, Scott, we need you to manage this $2.5 million construction process. So good luck, right?
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's it. That's it. Are there any other questions with the CMGC? Just to be clear, the CMGC, the people that are vying to do that, there is a competitive procurement process in that. And so we do take the lowest cost, guaranteed maximum price plus margin. There's kind of a calculation there, and that's who we select. So it doesn't dissuade competition at that broader, higher level. And we've been very fortunate. We've had a number of people put in bids for this program.
Any other questions for Scott before we?
The only question I've got is, I was reading, we're only gonna be able to work on this 2 months out of the year.
Unfortunately, that has been essentially the way these particular projects in many school districts across the state have been. Their summers are getting shorter and shorter, and so yeah, our contractors are really limited to how many days on site that they have to do the work.
Seems like quite a project for 2 months.
It is.
Maybe we could go at it differently. We're doing the backbone work for Portland Public, and it's all swing shift, work all year.
Oh, yeah.
And it keeps the projects moving.
Yeah. At a prior district, I've utilized that as well. We've run 2 shifts and Saturday, Sunday work.
Then you pay time and a half
Well, we did, the CMGC did.
yeah.
So if that works, that CMGC is on the hook for that. That's another reason why we go that route.
Like it.
Otherwise, it takes a long time to do a big project.
Yeah, it does. You're absolutely right.
Okay. Any other questions before we move to a motion? Then we can still discuss in the motion.
Can we go to public?
Oh, you
Oh,
do
sorry,
have to
public
open up,
Thank you.
to allow, you're essentially the local contract review board now, so you do need to hear from the public if they have any concerns about, moving into this delivery method.
Last thing I'll add is it's only as good as what we write up and have these GCs propose on. Again, from experience with Portland Public, if we don't write a good requirement, we will blow the budget.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Full detail, yeah.
Okay, any other comments up here? All right, I will open it up to public comment. Anybody in the room or anybody online?
This is the first time we've done this. How does this, is this a unlimited time to come up to the soapbox, or is it a?
No, if there are no takers, then we move on. Yep.
No, but if there was somebody that wanted to come up, is there?
Same 3-minute.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, plenty of time. All right, come on down.
Anyway, Bill Highlands, Dr. Carpenter mentioned me. It'd be great to help domesticated schools get 21st century technology. It's a whole lot better. River Mill has resistance heating from the 70s, the original stuff. I would like to understand from Scott Light what the River Mill power bills are, because they offer potential savings. And if you're able to sort of advance some money, Energy Trust could do something. If you wanted some more money, I could perhaps provide it with proviso that any savings are used to put in more systems, because you get 4 times as much energy using modern heat pump technology than you do from resistance heating. So the HVAC contractor was thinking maybe Riverville's paying $10,000 a month for your power bills in the winter. That's $7,500 a month. That's $45,000 for the year. Energy Trust maybe kicks in, 15 or 20. I kick in something, and then the savings, maybe roll forward. You pick the low-hanging fruit for resistance heating first. But a good energy audit would tell you a whole lot more about what you need to do. I really like efficiency. I really like deals. I'm also hoping to expand the Estacada Rock Quarry. And if I'm able to do that, then I'll be able to do a great deal more. But, seemingly it's insane to be burning energy elsewhere in the state, pumping it in here, taxing your electrical systems, and wasting 75% of your energy consumption because nobody's got anything done. It's nice to have a new guy on finance, because Mike, I thought, was a little frustrating. I wanted to give something. He said, well, I wasn't sure I could just write a check. And I said, well, I don't just want to give you a check for anything. I want to specify what I want to have.
Yes.
And, if we can make 30% on your money or something ridiculous like that, you know, a bond to fund the energy improvements, if they're going to be paid off in 3 years out of your revenues, would make a great deal of sense. But without the information, you know, you're just sort of, I like the term airy persiflage or something like that. So I think it's about 3 minutes, so thank you for your time.
All right, thanks, Bill, appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
You there, come on up, Mr. Metcalf. You got 3 minutes, and when the 3 minutes hit, I'm cutting you off.
Please do. I need about 30 seconds.
All right, perfect.
Thank you for letting me have the time to speak tonight. Jonathan Metcalf, City Council for the City of Estacada. We recently went through the CMCG process as well, obviously with the ever so popular wastewater sewer treatment plant, as I'm sure you guys have heard through Facebook and all over online, because that's how people like to communicate now. And with that, it's been a really positive experience for the most part, but I would urge you to consider the sticker shock that may come, and then I would also consider maybe you could also put requirements that you can ask them to request local bids and contractors. So even though that you do take that and you might be concerned about losing some of the control, you can put things in place to help you guys kind of protect the community's values and things like that, so it's multi-beneficial. And I'm positive that if the city could do anything to help you navigate that process or to lean on, we would be more than happy to clear our schedule and meet with you guys to discuss what that's been like for us. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, 20% of the room has spoken, so. Anybody else?
To add on to his example, that their package came out at 90%.
Yeah.
So what we had to do was, how do we bid the other 10? It's a mystery. And you end up putting in 20 to cover the 10 that's not designed. So it's really important to be fully vetted, fully designed.
The value engineering piece to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other public comment? I don't see anybody online. I think we're good to go. All right. So now we're going to move on to actual item K. So I need somebody to motion for item K.
Chair Adele, I move to approve the use of CMGC delivery method based on finding of fact and authorize the RFP solicitation for the CMGC firm to proceed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I know we had some good conversation prior to, but any additional discussion that anybody would like to add?
I appreciate the offer to look at how the city did it, because
Yeah.
there's lessons to be learned there too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not our first rodeo going this route, so maybe lessons learned from other projects we've done and making sure that we take a look at that and rewrite what we need to rewrite to make sure that we get it.
Thank you, yes, I agree, thank you.
Going in the Wayback Machine, River Mill, who was our CMGC on that?
I think Cedar Mill.
I think you're right.
I think it is too.
And then who did the planning and design?
WRK.
And we're pretty comfortable with
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with them.
any hiccups we've got out in the wash and.
Who did that roof job? That was Russell, and who was the designer of that? That's the,
middle school one?
yeah,
Green something, green,
Yeah, they're not allowed that.
he's,
we gotta shop it well.
I think that's why we're here,
Yes.
process. Cause that was a different process, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yes. All right, back to this. Any other discussion around this one? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand.
Motion carries.
On to item K, hearing of citizens for non-action items.
None.
All right, with that, thanks everybody for being here. Enjoy the rest of your week.